being a wrestler, it's not easy breaking in and meeting Snuka and meeting all these legends. You'd have to get starstruck, I'd imagine. Talk to me about the training process because it's very grueling, I'd imagine.
Well, when I trained, it was a little bit different. I trained in East Coast Pro Wrestling. The ring was an old boxing ring that was converted. There were two rings. He had an old boxing ring that we used to practice in. We landed on mats. First, we landed on just mats on the concrete itself. So we landed on the mats on the concrete itself. That got us ready for the next level, which was a boxing ring, which was an old boxing ring. And so we landed on softer sidewalks in that boxing ring. And then from there, you went into an old WWF TV ring that they had in East Coast Pro Wrestling, the old ring they had, which I think it's long been sold. And we trained in that one. That was a big ring. I think that was
Like
a
the
20.
red, white, and blue.
Yeah, that was a 20 by 20 ring. So it was like running across a ballpark every time you hit the ropes. And then they scaled it down to an 18 by 18, which was great. And then a lot of the companies that I would work for back then all had 20 by 20 rings. So uh it's like the WWE rings they use now, which are like I think they're bigger. I think they're all 20 by 20 now. So but it was cool. The process was a lot of squats, um a lot of calisthenics and learning how to fall, learning how to break your fall, learning how to fall properly, and using crash pads for certain stunts. I was never a. I tell you, these kids now are better athletes than we ever were. They're phenomenal athletes. I mean, they are tremendous. I can't believe this. They make me feel archaic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I see these guys wrestling, I'm like, I feel like when Eric Clapton and Pete Townsend from the Who went to see Jimi Hendrix play, and they were like, well, we our careers are over, and then Jimi Hendrix uh, passes away and everything, but then you have guys like Richie Blackmore and Tony Iommi look over and they see Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, and they're like, whoa, every I guess each generation came up with a new hook and more better capabilities and stuff like that. Not that they're better, but it's a different style and it tweaks your style. They pay homage to your style, but or the old school style, and they take it to a new level. And these wrestlers, like Braun Breaker, he takes Rick and Scott Steiner to a whole different level. But he's still not going to be Rick or Scott Steiner. You know what I'm saying? It's just insane. It's just insane.
He's very agile, and the
Tremendously
movements that
fast.
he does, it's incredible.
The energy,
Speed.
the speed. It just sheer on like a I couldn't even. I don't even know how to. I was Roadrunner on steroids.
Yeah, like when he does his spear, it's like boom, like right there.
I
Like
mean, Goldberg had a spear, Edge had a spear, Roman Reigns has a spear, but
Rhino.
Rhino had a spear. But his spear is like, bam, man, wow. So hats off to him. I wrestled his dad many times and his uncle, and he's just incredible. I mean, and then you got guys like who I worked there, helped form them in the business, like Damian Priest. I worked with him a lot when he was breaking in the business. Phenomenal. The kid is just he's always going to be the kid to me. Damian Priest is just great. I mean, I wrestled when he was Louis the Punisher, and he's just tremendous. I told him he used to come to me and say, "I'm too old. Oh, they're not going to look at me. They're not going to look at me." I was like, "Dude, you're the total package. You could do it. You got to just get out there." He leaned out, went to Ring of Honor, leaned out, went to NXT. He looked phenomenal, honed his craft. He is just one of he's the future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys and girls now. I mean, as far as like the women, I mean, Tiffany Stratton, perfect example. I mean, Charlotte Flair,
She
another one.
reinvents herself. She comes back and looks different. Okay, they can say she had plastic surgery, whatever, but she reinvents herself. She comes back stronger than ever. She's like I don't consider her more like her dad. I consider her more like Eddie Guerrero. She'll go out and come back bigger and stronger, and leaner and better looking. You know what I'm saying? As far as wrestling wise go, her career is just tremendous.
Yes,
So,
so many people out there today that are just incredibly talented athletes. Um, with you, did it come easier or harder as far as getting the moves down? Because it seems like it's a workout, but it's a different kind of workout.
Well, with me, it was I was always a brawler. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was a wrestler when I was a technical wrestler. We're all wrestlers. We all know the moves. I do, but I had a certain aspect what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a big Van Vader type, Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, um, with a touch of Don Morocco, who's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And Don Morocco was a brawler who just had moves. He can work. So I really appreciated that style of wrestling, and so that's what I patterned myself after. And considering I was trained by a high flyer like Jimmy Snuka, who was really a jacked up high flyer for those days. I mean, he was amazing. I also learned how to tone it down and add a little bit of Terry Funk into it, and slow the match down, keep the pace down. Because for the first, I think, 4 years of my career, I was 0 to 60. I was going so fast that the people would tell me, a lot of the vets would tell me slow down. So now I only have one gear, and that's slow.